Hey YouTubers, this is me, Lonnie Clark, Nuts for Art. And I was, I don't know how I got engaged in this email link chain today, but somehow I was between Kevin Camps of Beyond Nuclear and a few other activists that are active on the West Coast. And I'm going to share it with you because I think it really speaks to why we keep spinning our wheels, why we can't really just all get on one side of the issue. Because where we're going to deposit this nuclear waste is like everybody's business. I personally think that we need to be putting all the nuclear waste at Hanford. It's 450 acres. It's already massively contaminated. We don't need Yucca Mountain. We can just like, boom, bring it up to the Northwest. Not that we want to have more nuclear waste here, but it's like the one drop rule, right? One drop of plutonium and we're all just super screwed anyways. And yes, the Cascadia is going to have a huge, gigantic earthquake, but there's already enough nuclear waste there that it won't matter how much. Like San Onofre, they're trying to figure out where to put San Onofre's nuclear waste, right? So that's the big issue. This is what this email whole thing was about. It started out with Kevin like, hey guys, we're going to have a summit and here's some information, and I'll share this with you, but I believe that I have the right to share this because this was an email that came to me, and I don't think there was nobody that said this was private or privileged. These are all 501(c) public people who are nonprofit representatives. So I think I have a right to share it, which I'm going to do because I think it's important for us to see. This is why the nuclear industry can't be stopped, because people like are just talking to themselves. Like me, I'm talking to myself right now, and to the few handful of people who watch this video, and even to the trolls who watch my video and make a copy of it and then make another video and ridicule me and call me horrible names behind my back. I mean, that's the nature of this industry, man. Murder, death, kill. And I mean, none of us want to admit that there's no answer to nuclear waste. There's no place to put it. There is, I mean, we have made a grave, grave, grave mistake on this planet. I need to cough, so hang on. You know, we have no place to put this waste. And we have establishment anti-nukers who have built up these organizations where they get money and grants and it sustains their life, and they're busy every day going to work, talking to the elected officials, and like it doesn't do jack. Like we are still super screwed no matter where you put it. It doesn't matter. We have to move it from San Onofre somewhere. It can't sit on the coast, right on the coast of San Onofre Nuclear Power Facility, right there on the coast. That's unacceptable to leave the nuclear waste there. So it has to go somewhere, and they're talking about Yucca Mountain. And actually, Kevin Camps, as you'll see, he suggested putting it in like Camp Pendleton down in California, as if. So let me put on my double glasses, and I'm going to screen share this with you. And maybe what I ought to have done. Is it this one? Yes, it is. Okay, so here, this is what happened. Kevin Camps, Beyond Nuclear, via sanonofre.com. Action alert, nuclear waste dump, mobile Chernobyl bill heads to U.S. House floor. Urgent. Now, this is what you guys can do. You can take action for this. Let me go back and remember to share with everyone, because I don't know what this does, but it does tell me to do that. So I'm going to do it. Bada bada bing. Here we go. And you know what else I'm going to do? I'm going to show you where San Onofre is. And we'll look on the maps. Search. News. Here we are. Right there. And let's see maps. And let's go back here and we'll look at the satellite. It's so beautiful there, you guys. You have no idea. If you've never been down there, it is amazingly beautiful. The West Coast is just so beautiful. San Onofre nuclear power plant, and some idea of what this guy is talking about. And we are going to type in Camp Pendleton. Camp Pendleton. Directions. Camp Pendleton. Main gate. Let's do that. How about that? Da 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 da. So that's Camp Pendleton right there. Ocean side, and up the street here is San Onofre. Here's San Clemente. You can see San Onofre is right up here, right by San Clemente. Ba da 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 dun 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 dun. I used to drive past here. I actually thought that this was the Camp Pendleton. Oh dear. Directions to San Onofre nuclear power plant. Let's try that. Here we go. So there's the difference. That's it goes from here to here. Boom, boom. That's what Kevin Camps is saying. Okay. So now let's go back to this, because this kind of gives you the idea of the argument here. And I will show you what my idea was. This is where I'm at. And Hanford, folks, for those of you who don't know, see, there's Mount Hood, Pine Grove, let's see, Warm Springs Reservation. Don't you just love that? They call it Warm Springs. Oh, there's Brighton Bush. I've been told by many people I need to go to Brighton Bush. It's kind of like some... Right here, this is Kennewick. This is Hanford Reservation. So you can see it on the map. What a freaking mess this site is. Okay, so now we kind of have our gears. So Hanford's up here by the Nez Perce. They basically destroyed the Nez Perce people. Then they're destroying us too, where we have not been left out of this act of joy from these people. San Onofre, here we go. Okay, let's read this. So this came out of via sanonofresafety.org, sanonofre.com. First of all, congratulations on all the good news that Roger Herod just shared with this listserv. Scott Stapp, Hastings Group tweet pointing to the San Francisco Chronicle article about the CPUC voting against bringing Diablo Canyon back from the dead after 24-25. The only real good solution to the radioactive waste problem is to stop making it in the first place. Speaking of the devil, please find below an action alert. Note the link on the San Luis Obispo Mothers for Peace event on January 19th, at which Diane D'Arrigo of NERS and I will present, as well as an invitation to the National Grassroots Strategy Summit in Chicago on March 16th through the 18th. I have talked to Diana D'Arrigo 4 or 5 times, I think, already, in an effort to get her on my radio show. She's super busy and on the East Coast and doesn't seem to want to make time to be on the radio show. Don't ask me why, but maybe she thinks it's a waste of time, but she says yes, and then when I call her, she says I don't have time. Kevin Camps, on the other hand, never even responds to my emails, so I have no problem showing his emails because he's an activist. So if he won't come on my radio show, I'm going to have him show on my YouTube videos. Okay, so Beyond Nuclear is campaigning to stop mobile Chernobyls dead in their track Please help us by taking action ASAP. The very pro-nuclear U.S. House Republican Darrell Issa from Southern California, who is not going to, has announced he will not seek re-election this November. This gives us an opening to push back on his rabid brand of "get it out of here, we don't care how, nor where it goes," when it comes to highly radioactive irradiated nuclear fuel in his district at the permanently shut down San Onofre nuclear plant. Beyond Nuclear has long advocated for hardened on-site storage as close to the point of generation as possible. That is a particularly contentious position for lots of people too. Previous ISA legislation got rolled into H.R. 3053, a dangerously bad Nuclear Waste Policy Amendment Act of 2017, now reportedly poised for a House floor vote this month or next. Beyond Nuclear is taking action from coast to coast against this attempt to launch mobile Chernobyls through 44 states, many major cities, and the vast majority of U.S. congressional districts. We just appeared on Nuclear Free Future TV in Vermont, pushing back against Democratic U.S. Rep. Peter Walsh's misguided support for H.R. 3053, and will be featured in an event on January 19th, sponsored by San Luis Obispo Mothers for Peace, where we'll also object to Democratic U.S. Rep. Salud Carvajal's advocacy to export highly radioactive waste from Diablo Canyon nuclear plant to already polluted people of color community in the American Southwest. It would make little sense for Californians to save their coastline from President Trump's push for offshore oil drilling, only then to risk a radioactive catastrophe during floating Fukushima barge shipments of irradiated nuclear fuel. So let's open that link up. I have no idea what that's going to bring us, but let's come back to it. Please act ASAP to stop these environmental injustices. Both groups and individuals can take action. An environmental coalition of 120 plus organizations has sent a letter to the U.S. House urging opposition to H.R. 3053. This letter will be sent one more time when the bill moves from the floor for a vote. There is still time to sign your group on if you haven't already. To sign your organization on, please fill out and submit this Google form. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. Or else directly email to Sean Alcorn at NRDC, your name, title, organization, state, and city. National Resource Defense. What's NRDC? What is NRDC? Let's see what he says. Let's see. Oh, that's an email address. I don't want to do that. I don't have much respect for many of these individuals. Individuals, please contact your U.S. rep and urge them to oppose 3053. Sierra Club has a web form you can fill out and submit to your U.S. rep. Seed Coalition of Texas has launched a Credo petition you can sign. You can, here, I'm going to open that in a new link too. You can also call your U.S. Rep's D.C. office via switchboard at 202-225-3121 by following the instructions. Or you can look up your U.S. Rep's direct contact info here by entering your zip code, clicking on finding your rep by zip button and following the links. I beg your pardon, you guys, but I am going to mute the phone so I can give myself a proper cough. Hold on. I'm really sorry about that, but man, did I have to cough. Okay, let's go back to this guy. Bada bada bing. Here we are. Okay, so here it is. The nurse's sample script for phone calls is just below. Nuclear Information and Resource Service, that's NIRS. That's where Diane Diarego is from. She also works there. Has posted an action alert online. Click and tell Congress, don't waste America. You can also submit an email web form message to your U.S. rep, and NEARS has also posted the following sample script you can use when phoning your U.S. rep. And here is their little sample thing that you can say. I'm calling to ask Representative, in my case, Pete DeFazio, to vote against 3053, the Nuclear Waste Policy Amendment Act of 2017, because a vote for H.R. 3053 is a vote for, what is that? Why is this blank? High-level radioactive waste shipments throughout our state. Each cask has as much radioactive cesium as was released by the huge 1986 Chernobyl nuclear power reactor meltdown that devastated huge swaths of several countries and is still measurable in fields on the other side of the continent. The casks are not real-world tested nor designed for real-world conditions, despite claims to the contrary. The transport threatens our districts, our state, and really the whole country because it triggers thousands of these shipments that will continue for 30 to 40 years on our own roads, rails, and precious waterways, and brings us no closer to a permanent isolation or improved storage of the growing nuclear waste problem. It also, this is not in here, but it also takes away our water rights and our air rights if this bill gets passed. So we really do have to call. Anybody who watches this video, you've got to tell your friends and family to call, because this is definitely completely outrageous. So I guess I should have gotten my little herbs out and my little spray herbs that keeps me from coughing, I guess. Okay, so Yucca Mountain cannot isolate the waste, and supposedly interim sites are a distraction. They just add to the problem we already have and violate environmental justice, targeting largely low-income communities, people of color. Do you know how Representative Pete DeFazio plans to vote on this bill? They will not tell you if you ask. Thank you for your time. Please convey this to Representative Pete DeFazio, that's mine. To learn more about H.R. 3053, why H.R. 3053 is a dangerously bad idea, see Beyond Nuclear's Yucca Mountain Burial Dump, de facto permanent parking lot dump, and radioactive waste transport risk. Let's take a look at these guys, okay? Open in a new link, and open in a new link. If you've taken action already, thank you very much. Take action again, even if you have taken action. Call your representatives this week, you guys, because this is dangerous. Please consider spreading the word as widely as possible, given the grave risks and high stakes. And yet, they do not want to come on my radio show. They refuse to talk to me. I don't even get callbacks from these people. I've called them and sent them emails, but somehow I'm on their email list. So here we go. I'm going to share their emails. And you guys will see how this email link progresses. Okay, this is the beginning. This was the first email. National Grassroots Strategy Conference, Chicago, March 16th to the 18th. Halting high-level radioactive waste dumps, transports, etc. Oh, please do not post oh dear. Do not post to general post listservs or open social media, the web. But do share. Now, why do they say this? Please do not post to general listservs or open social media and the web. Why do they not want that? Okay, so we'll skip all that bullshit. So why do they say that? Why do they say that? Why do they want that? Please do not post that. I don't understand that. And we will engage to educate others and take positive action. This kind of pisses me off. Okay, so I guess they don't want me to show all this whole stuff. Okay, so we'll skip through that. So then this lady, Susan Brinchman, she is the director of electrosmogprevention.org. Another 501(c) says, to Kevin Camps at this place. I believe that keeping nuclear waste in an area where there are earthquakes, fires, floods, from tsunamis, and an adjacent important military marine base would be irresponsible. This is my personal opinion. Keeping nuclear waste at San Onofre would be a huge mistake. I don't see how anyone can see it otherwise. Susan Berkman, Center for Electrosmog Prevention, 5013C, P.O. Box La Mesa. So this is a woman out there doing a lot of good work, okay? And then, and why would this guy not want us to share this information with the general public? I didn't understand that. And then he writes back. And CC the nuclear free serve list. This is my response to you as well. What follows is an explanation of my position. I didn't say keep it at San Onofre. I said move it several miles to the east, deeper in the heart of Camp Pendleton. As if the government is going to put the nuclear waste on Camp Pendleton. What a bean brain this guy is. What a mistake. What was a mistake and irresponsible was generating this forever deadly radioactive waste in the first place. It will be a curse on all future generations who will have to figure out how to keep it from leaking into the environment. That is not even going to happen, bean brain. No small task at that. What to do with the what exists is still a real dilemma. Doing, doing, doing. My LA letter to the editor on 9/11/17 speaks for itself. For 15 years, hundreds of environmental groups have advocated for hardened on-site storage of irradiated nuclear fuel as close and safely as possible to the point of generation as necessary interim measure. I honestly, by moving the dangerous nuclear rods into the heart of Camp Pendleton, there would be the added bonus of many thousands of U.S. Marines to help guard it. They are not going to do that. So, really, I don't know how we can even, this is beyond me. First, this guy says don't post anything so people can't go and learn how to become a good activist. And now he's saying, let's just dump it right. They're not going to put it on Camp Pendleton, bean brain. They're not going to do it. The military is not going to harm itself. They're going to harm us. God dang, man. This is why this letter to the editor on 9/17 must have made you feel really good. I mean, I'm sort of burning the bridges with Kevin Camps because honestly, I think this is the reason why Carl Grossman won't come on my show, because I said something negative about this guy. But this is why. He's freaking infuriating. He thinks like a 2-year-old. The current proposals of get it out of here, we don't care how or nor where it goes, are Yucca Mountain, Eddie Lee Alliances southeast of New Mexico, and Control Waste Specialists in Andrew in West Texas. So I don't understand why they aren't talking about putting it on Hanford. And I get it that Hanford is owned by the DOE and these are private, but how did we end up getting Columbia Generating Station there? I can't even go through this with this guy. So then this goes back and forth, and then here's this sweet woman, Donna Gilmore, man. She's busted her rear end for this. Susan, are you aware that H.R. 3 will make us not less safe? And she goes on and talks about H.R. 3053 and the horrible, horrible things that happens. Listen to what happens. Preempts and jeopardizes existing federal, state, and local water and air rights, and rights to oversight, input, and transparent other rights. Removes storage and transport safety requirements to prevent radioactive leaks. Provides inadequate funding to transport and store nuclear waste, fuel waste. Makes federal reimbursement for nuclear waste storage discretionary instead of mandatory. Check that out. Allows DOE ownership of nuclear fuel waste at existing nuclear facilities, including San Onofre, making us vulnerable to insufficient funding for nuclear waste storage. Current DOE nuclear waste sites have repeatedly leaked radiation into groundwater and air, partly because of this. Eliminates requirement for site-specific environmental reviews. Allows the building of interim storage sites without evaluating transport feasibility or transport risks. The NRC, DOE, Holtec, and Edison claim they have not evaluated transport routes for San Onofre waste. However, the only available rail routes are through Los Angeles. The elected officials supporting this bill assume the NRC is doing their jobs. However, this is not the case, and they need to be informed of that and the current critical nuclear waste storage crisis at San Onofre and elsewhere. Please share the above talking points and the link file below that will educate elected officials of the current dry storage problems and recommended solutions. Moving existing thin-wall Chernobyl cans around the country is not feasible or safe and will only make the problem worse. In addition, no one wants San Onofre's waste, so there will be lawsuits as well. Are you aware of the Ogallala Aquifer near the proposed New Mexico and Texas centralized storage site is one of the largest of the world and provides fresh water to 8 states and irrigates the breadbasket of the country? I live 5 miles from San Onofre. Some of the existing 51 San Onofre Chernobyl waste cans are almost 15 years old. The Coburg nuclear plant had a comparable container, a tank with no nuclear waste, leak in only 17 years. The longest of many Coburg cracks was 0.61 inches long. Many thin can canisters are only 0.50 inches thick. That's a half an inch thick, folks. The NRC admits once a crack starts, cracks can grow through the wall in 16 years. EPRI found 2-year-old Diablo can canister with all the conditions for cracking, but did not disclose this information in a report they produced on cracking and leaking risks at San Onofre. EPRI and the NRC are ignoring all the moisture at San Onofre from fog and offshore surf. The moisture combined with salt is one of the many triggers that can initiate cracking. The NRC and EPRI do not plan to investigate the other cracking risks in these thin wall canisters, such as acid rain and critters making microscopic scratches on the surfaces of the canister. The NRC approval of high burnup fuel has made the problem even worse. High burnup fuel is unstable in storage and transport. It produces hybrids of zirconium cladding fuel rods, the uranium fuel pellets, and aluminum fuel baskets. This can result in gas explosions. In addition, if unborated water enters through a crack, the fuel can go critical. I have written confirmation of this from Holtec and the NRC. What is the NRC sand nuclear industry doing about this? Hoping it doesn't happen and continuing to approve and use thin wall canisters that can crack, cannot be inspected inside or out, cannot be repaired, and cannot be maintained or monitored in a manner that can prevent major radioactive leaks into the environment. Worst of all, they have no plan to deal with the leaks. Recently, Edison asked their Areva Thin Wall New Homes canister vendor to have their NRC license amended. Listen to this. So they do not need to report peak radiation levels from their exhaust vents. This is where the radiation will be the highest from the through-wall cracks in the canisters. They also requested eliminating spent fuel pools once they are empty, eliminating the only on-site method they have to deal with faulty canisters. We may also need a large hot cell at each site due to the hydrides and other damage from high burnup fuel. None exist in the country that are large enough to move fuel assemblies from one canister to another. Listen, none exist in the country that are large enough to move fuel assemblies from one canister to another. The NRC and nuclear industry claim that they have sufficient information about high burnup fuel. However, they have data from commercially burned fuel rods and much experimental data to confirm high burnup fuel is unstable in storage and transport. Here's a new high burnup fuel fact sheet. I'm going to open that link. Please give the above information to elected officials and others, explaining why the NRC is not protecting our safety and why they need to advocate for enforcement of safe storage transport casts rather than supporting bad legislation such as H.R. 3053. The problem is now. So this is the safety features. This is what we have in our country. Thin canisters, a half an inch to 5/8 inches thick. In Europe, this is what they use. These thick canisters. This is what we use in the States. This is what they use in Europe. All of them won't crack. ability to repair, ability to inspect exterior, early warning monitor. You can't even get an early warning monitor. Defense and systems stored in concrete building. Licensed in the U.S. These are also licensed in the U.S. Market leader is the U.S., these thin canisters. The rest of the world uses this, folks. For more information and technical references at sanonofreesafety.org. And I forwarded this to my friend Jana Thrift. Kevin, you are welcome to that opinion. I live near enough to be quite familiar. To place nuclear waste in a place like that would be obviously harmful. And Kevin comes back and says, what? Susan, he's trying to convince her. This is the thing. I don't think Kevin Camps is a bad guy. I just think he's stuck in his own little cocoon shell. He doesn't get it. They are not going to move the nuclear waste to Camp Pendleton. I do not know how you think that could possibly be happening. Blah, blah, blah. I can't even read this. It just infuriates me. It's not my personal opinion. It's a carefully arrived at conclusion, balancing multiple factors, including environmental justice. Do you think the military gives a damn about nuclear justice, environmental justice? And a hard-won consensus by hundreds of environmental groups in all 50 states. Yeah, paved the way by the nuclear industry, including the Sierra Club, who has no respect by anybody who actually respects the environment. Honestly, it's beyond comprehension. It is just, I just do not know how these people can actually live with themselves. High burn-up fuel fact sheet. It is unstable in transport. We are arguing over where to put waste that now the government wants to prevent unnecessary radioactive risks across the nation, by Karen Hayden. Vote no on H.R. 3053, Representative Shimkus Nuclear Waste Policy Amendment Act of 2017, which would authorize an inadequate radioactive waste repository and a clear major hurdle for dangerous consolidated interim storage sites proposed for Texas and New Mexico. As a result, an unprecedented mass shipment of over 10,000 train shipments of tons of deadly irradiated fuel rods could cross the country through major cities in 370 of the 435 congressional districts, traveling by train, trucks, and barges. This unnecessary transport would create risks from leaks, accidents, and terrorism, and it would take 24 years to ship all this dangerous waste. Transport routes would likely go through numerous major cities and ports, but haven't been yet determined. A single rail car would carry as much plutonium as well as the bomb dropped on Nagasaki, and a leak would expose people to cancer-causing radiation, contaminate the land and aquifers, and cost billions to clean up. Let's face it, there would be no cleanup. There's no cleaning up. Look what's happened to St. Louis. There's no cleaning up. Put public health and safety first. H.R. 3053 should be halted. Don't waste billions of dollars on storage sites that become unsafe, de facto permanent dumps. Yucca Mountain was a faulty decision based on politics, not science, and was ultimately rejected because it would leak. Instead of passing this ill-conceived bill, Congress should support scientific efforts to find the right geologic site and develop a robust storage system that can isolate this dangerous waste for millions of years. That is also not going to happen. I'm going to stop sharing. I don't know, you guys. This really just, it gets to me because there's no answer to the nuclear waste problem. For me, the only answer is dump it all on Hanford. I don't see why we can't put it all in Hanford, because Hanford was meant to be a nuclear waste dump site in the first place. So why can't we bring it there? The U.S. military can bring it there. They're not going to bring it to Pendleton, that's for sure. And for these organizations to argue among themselves, and for Kevin Camp says, don't share this information with the general public and don't tell anybody we're going to be, like that just makes me spit nails. They just want to be proprietary about it. And the waste is not proprietary. It's going to harm every single buddy on this planet, and it already has. There's no solution to it. And they're acting as if they have solutions that they can find. This is why the nuclear industry can't be stopped. Because we have all these 501(c)(3)s who like spinning like little rods, and when they come together, they bang like bing. You ever seen tops when they're spinning, and they get close, and as soon as they touch, they bing, and then they go off all kilter, and then they stop, right? So that's kind of where we're at. Because all of these so-called anti-nuke organizations, they have no interest in bringing tens of millions of people together. They don't want us in the streets. They don't want us with our signs out. They want to be the people on TV. They want to be the guys taking in their $2, $3, $4 million contributions, their $100,000 contributions. They want to be the guys sitting up there telling everybody, oh, how they're going to find the solutions. Ego, ego, ego. That's all it is. Well, I'm sorry that Carl Grossman won't talk to me anymore on my radio show because I think I offended him about Kevin Camps. And I still think Kevin Camps is completely blind. I do have this email conflict back and forth. I mean, does he really think that Camp Pendleton is a good site? Does he, honest to God, to me, that is just like the most shocking thing I've read in a long time. Yeah, the military is going to bring San Onofre nuclear waste onto a military base so our soldiers can guard it. No, Kevin, that's not going to happen. They're not going to bring the nuclear waste onto military bases. Because you know why? Because they know it kills people. They know it's going to harm everybody who goes near it, and they know those freaking canisters are going to leak. So they're not going to put it on the... Why do you think they're leaving it on the beach? For God's sakes, the military, the Navy was supposed to take over the new San Onofre land once San Onofre closed down, but it's so radioactive, they don't even want it back. You think they're going to take the nuclear waste and put it on Camp Pendleton? No, sir. No. So I guess, this is the thing. I'm not going to address this nuclear waste issue tomorrow or the next night. I can't even talk about it. I'm going to talk about other chemical waste. Because at least with the chemical waste, you get activists who want the public involved. I honest to God, do not comprehend these anti-nuke activists who do not want the public involved. I just don't get it. I don't get them at all. And I don't have much respect for them because the planet is swimming in nuclear waste. And we need millions of people out in the streets demanding action instead of 50 or 60 people gathering saying, oh, we're going to do it. It's going to be us doing it. And don't tell anybody else. You can go on to Tom Hartman's show all you want. But until you get millions of people engaged, you guys are part of the problem. Put your courage feet on, you guys. I'm going to get some coffee and talk to you later. Bye-bye.